And so they're always asking for that. And that's one of the nice things with working with a small company is that we can pivot quickly to something new and something fresh or something that a lot of people are doing. So it makes for sometimes is a nice thing, but other times it's also a pain because it's just like, well, I just finally polished off this wonderful, a great example is just the way that we allow access to our software. We started off with just our own, kind of security where it was just a name and a simple token. And now everybody, it kind of evolved into using Windows domain and Windows security. And then that kind of domain or that kind of expanded now that we have cloud and we have a different thing. Well, just a great example of it used to be Azure Active Directory and now it's Azure Intra or something like that. So again, they change names and change how they do stuff. So it's things like that we update quite a lot. So it's fun. It's fun and kind of somewhat exciting, but also somewhat frustrating too. So I always ask Microsoft why they do the things that they do.
I remember Kerberos at one point. They start building Kerberos. They moved to Azure. I used to work at Microsoft, so I was very familiar with that. Then I did a 180 and I went Linux, Ubuntu, and Ruby on Rails, a whole different technology set.
Yeah.
It took me like 2 weeks to be able to read one email, but it was a good experience. And yeah, I've seen that happen. Like Microsoft make changes on the software for no particular reason other than just selling a new software license, I guess.
Yeah.
And then everybody else that implemented on top of that technology, they need to adapt quickly, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's just, you finally get everything working and then suddenly IT is just like, no, we're going to upgrade servers. So let's go ahead and upgrade servers. And it's like, well, we just got everything working. So why are we doing this? But it's, as I said, it's part of the game.
Right. And they sunset Windows XP and then Windows, I don't remember the other one, Windows 10, I think is the other one. But there are a lot of systems that depend on that have not upgraded, right? Because on the, on the industry, you don't need to update to the latest computer all the time, right? What you need is reliability, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely true. Actually, I remember we were trying to do a report for a remote compressor station, and this one was predictive maintenance of when it would shut down because they didn't have a guy manning the compressor station. They basically just they would send a guy out there if they ever had any trouble or anything like that. And the computer that they had there was a Windows XP, and I was trying to get our software. And then at this point in time, it was already like 2013 or 2014. I mean, Windows, obviously 8.1, I think, had already been out for quite a while. And I think they were, I don't remember when Windows 10 came out, but it was just one of those where they wanted it to work on Windows XP, and we were struggling a lot to get all of our functionality working on a 32-bit. And that was another thing is it was Windows XP 32-bit. So it was, I think that was one of the projects where our development staff just gave up and said, we're not going to do this. It was one of those where we kind of stopped doing legacy programs after that project. But I get it. They had a nice reporting system that was working and had been working for the last, probably 10 or 12 years, and they didn't want to abandon it. And
right.
I get that, but it's one of those where at some point in time, it's going to force you to update either that or the computer dies and breaks down at some point. But now one of the things I like is, especially with simulation, a lot of people are going to virtual machines. So it's a lot nicer to update, move, migrate, and things like that, because they're just like, oh yeah, we have a backup copy online and we can just restore it with the latest version of whatever, and everything's already installed or everything's there that you need to. And so it makes it a lot easier than what we used to do, where it'd be like VPN into a company's internet and then VPN into a remote computer or something like that, or a different business unit to access a remote computer. So we'd have to go through a couple hops and a couple of different ways to communicate. And now it's just virtualization, and you guys just log in either through Azure or through AWS or something like that, and everything works wonderfully.